Okay, great. All right. So, you know what? A great quote from Helen Keller. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. So, you know, as everybody, there are a lot of people suffering right now, but you know what? A lot of us are overcoming as best as we know. And I think a lot of the news around town right now is that a lot of cities are opening up. Have you guys been hearing that too? That it's definitely opening up. I could have swore I heard either Riverside or San Bernardino. They were saying that, you know, wearing masks in public places was not a mandatory thing anymore. It was just an optional thing. So things are changing, and hopefully here.
What I heard is I was on the phone with LA County yesterday, and I was talking to the guy, and he said, you didn't hear it from me, but June 1st is the date we've been told that is we're going to reopen our doors to the public.
Got it. Cool. Well, that's great news. That's really great news. So let's go for that. And you know what? I think we've been waiting very long already. But you know what? If you look back at like Spanish Plague or any of these other big pandemics, they lasted years, not, you know, weeks or months. So, all right. Anybody got buyer, seller, wants, and needs? I know that my buddy Renee and Eduardo, they're probably gonna want to share theirs right now. Is that true, guys? Well, anyways, here I'm gonna go and share. I'm gonna share their listing so you guys can see that. Okay, give me a sec here. Okay. Sorry, I got background noise, guys, here. Some of the guys are working in the office. Not a bad thing. Here we go. All right, so we still got Pat Delaney. Pat Delaney, are you on the call? I don't know if anybody else has seen this one. He does have a virtual tour. They haven't reduced the price yet, but 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 22 days on the market, $875 over near Carson Park in Long Beach. So that's the thing. It's still available. If you'd like to take a look at that, call Pat Delaney for an appointment. Here's another one from Eduardo and Renee. They just got this listed. I want to say, oh, there you go, a day ago. So here, let's take a look. Showing your listing, by the way. Okay, everybody. That was Eduardo and Renee's new listing in Garden Grove, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,477 square feet, big lot, 8,100 square feet. I think they were talking about the possibility of having an ADU installed there is very likely because of the lot size. Give them a call, and they're asking $750 for that one, first day on the market. So something to look out for. The next one, Hialeah, that's still available. This is Jolie Piccolini's one. She asked me to help her out and do a quick virtual tour, which I have no knowledge on how to do this stuff. So I just went and shot some quick video on her place. All right, so that's Hialeah Drive in Cypress, still available. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,250. So wanted to mention QuickVid, KWIKVID.com. They're the ones that did the previous video, Renee and Eduardo's listing. This one, Jolie, she's gonna owe me lunch or something for that. But you know what, the house is pretty, needs upgrading. So that's why, you know, and she had already hired a photographer. So her choice was, you know what, I'm not gonna pay for a virtual tour. But then the clients wanted one, so we went over there and did whatever. That was my first attempt. So please do not hire me for your videos, as I will do a crappy job. But all right, Volte's still available, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This one is in need of a major price reduction that our agent hasn't got, and I can say that because he's one of my good friends. The one thing I will mention though is they received an offer at $445 a day ago, and sorry, $745 a day ago, and the sellers did not take that. He was saying that something at $750 or a little bit higher could possibly get it. So something to keep in mind. That's in Downey, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet, 9,000 square foot lot, 774. This is my new listing in the city of Downey. Sits on a private street. Let's watch the video real quick. All right, everybody. So that's 12527 and a half Downey Avenue. Sits on a private street, like a cul-de-sac private street. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet on a 6,700 square foot lot, 620. And we just showed it for the first time on Saturday. So if you have any questions, give me a ring. Again, that video was done by qwikvid.com. Quick vid. The cost for this is $425 for those videos that you saw, Eduardo and Renee's, and then this one mine. But if you've never used Quick Vid and we refer you, either Renee or Eduardo or myself, then you get $50 off, and they get $50 off, or I'll get $50 off. And so it makes it $375, which honestly, photography and video, not bad. And you get your own little property website with your 12527downey.com. So they'll give you that too. So something to keep in mind. I'm going to stop. Oh, one more thing. Hold on. Let me see. Do we have anything else? No. I just wanted to point out, congratulations to a lot of people going under contract. I know that Angie put one in escrow. I know Marjorie's got multiples, and we'll do the numbers in a sec here. But Christina Furneaux, man, I want to say she's got 4 or 5 escrows currently. So congrats to everybody kicking butt out there. Let me stop sharing this screen. I'm going to unmute everybody. Here we go. Does anybody have any listings or buyers that you'd like to share at this moment? No? Going once. Going twice. All right, I will mute everybody again. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm slowly getting the hang of this, okay? And where am I gonna go? Am I gonna go to, what's it? Okay, there we go. All right. So, okay. So back to the keynote. So, and now the numbers. Can everybody hear me all right? Can you give me a thumbs up? You can hear me? And can you see my screen? Is there big green money on the screen? Yes? All right, awesome. Sweet. All right, pending transactions. And this is not everything, but these are just some of them. Foston Lakewood, Marjorie Tyson, Rosie, can you check her out? 3 for Rosie. Marjorie's got 2. I'm sure that Eduardo and Renee are sandbagging a couple of them and not telling me about them. But Jean also, congratulations with 2 escrows, which she actually is double ending one. I know that Jolie Piccolini is on there too with a couple escrows. And again, like I said, Christina Furneaux, I think she's got 4 or 5 escrows currently. So congrats to everybody on there. If I didn't mention you, please forgive me. And we will see your numbers shortly here. Closed transactions for the month. I know we're on the 12th of the month, but we got stuff closing here pretty soon, so we're not done. But congratulations to Sally Ann Brennan on her closing. And Don and Carrie, congrats again on your closings. That's awesome. Keep up the good work. Joe Coy, can you unmute yourself, my man?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
There he is. Hey, Joe, real quick, I'm going to say, I'm just doing this to reinforce what I preach to all the agents is I keep 2 Facebook accounts. One is for like family and like clients, and then my other one is all real estate industry people. You tried to add me on my family one, and so I said no to your request, but I'm going to request you in a few on the regular page. So
okay,
cool, my man. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Yeah, so you know, rates are still great. We haven't seen much changes in rates recently. You know, for your FHA deals, you're looking right around 3.0. For your conforming conventional, you're looking around 3.25, and for your high balance conventional deals, you're looking at about 3.5%. You know, obviously it's dependent upon down payment, FICO score, all the standard factors. But rates are excellent. They haven't been as volatile as they were, you know, 30 to 60 days ago. Which is nice. It's definitely getting a lot of people off the fence. I know a lot of clients, you know, right now have concerns about home prices dropping. So one conversation that we're having is how low interest rates are keeping the affordability for real estate very affordable, very low. The other thing I want to mention is drive-by appraisals. Drive-by appraisals have been helpful in some instances and can also put you at a disadvantage in other instances. I recently had a situation where the property was in really, really bad shape, probably would not have been financeable with the full interior and exterior appraisal. The client was okay with the condition of the home though, and we were able to do an exterior appraisal as is without requiring any lender required repairs. We knew up front that the seller was not going to be willing to make any repairs, and it probably would have been an issue in closing the transaction if a full appraisal was done. So in that type of a situation, it can actually be beneficial, something helpful to get your transactions closed. On the reverse side, you know, if your client knows that there's some damage to the home, they expect for the seller to make some lender required repairs, and you expect for the seller to be willing to do those repairs, then of course you're going to want a full appraisal to give you some leverage to say, hey, the lender is requiring all of these repairs. We expect for you guys to complete these repairs. So it goes both ways. Definitely a conversation you're going to want to have with your lender, depending on what your preference is. I've been asking agents what they would prefer and kind of giving my input when needed. Another thing that I wanted to mention is lender credits. So a lender can help your buyer cover their closing costs. But one thing that's a little different in this market, or as far as mortgages are concerned at the moment, is the limitation for lenders to cover all of the closing costs, especially with lower FICO scores. Right now, the ceiling rate is lower than it typically is. Usually there's plenty of room on the rate sheet to cover all of the closing costs, and it's usually not a problem. But on FHA transactions, for instance, where the client maybe is like in the 620 or 640 FICO score range, we are pretty limited on how much closing costs we can help. Depending on the loan amount, you know, usually it's less than a 1-point lender credit. So it could be somewhere maybe in the like $1,000 to $4,000 range in closing costs that I'm typically seeing for those lower FICO score clients trying to get a lender credit on an FHA transaction. So depending on how the client's qualified, if they just have the down payment and they need all of their closing costs covered, then it's important that, you know, the realtor is working with the lender to ask the lender what's the maximum lender credit they can currently provide, and any shortage being covered through a seller credit. So, you know, just make sure you're game planning with your lender, and that you're setting up your transaction for success so there isn't any issues towards the end. Another thing I wanted to mention was forbearance. So it's a popular discussion right now. A lot of my past clients are calling me, they're asking questions. I do see a lot of people in a position to continue to make their mortgage payment, but they are just curious about the benefits, or if it's something that they can take advantage of, if it's something worthwhile for them to do. One thing that's important for our clients to keep in mind is that if they're currently in forbearance on one of their loans, it's going to prevent them from doing a refinance, prevent them from buying another property until that forbearance verbiage is removed from their credit report. To get that removed, they need to pay whatever mortgage payments they skipped. So usually when I have that conversation with past clients and kind of talk about the pros and cons of doing a forbearance, they tend to lean towards not pursuing the forbearance, which I think is definitely a good idea for them. But if any of our past clients are asking you questions, or, you know, even if it's not a past client of mine, but they would just like to have a discussion, feel free to send them my way. I'd be happy to kind of tell them the pros and cons and help them be more informed. At the end of the day, though, it is best that they speak with their mortgage servicer, because they're going to get the most accurate response, and a response that's going to be specific to their loan in particular. But that's what I got for you guys today. If you have any questions, I'm always a phone call away. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Christy Wright or Keegan.
I think both of us are on here right now.
Yeah.
I think
Great.
See, I'm kind of hitchhiking here. I wasn't supposed to be at your meeting, but I thought, you know what, I've got a few minutes before I have to jump on the Redondo's office meeting, the Long Beach office on Redondo. So,
Hey, wait, don't repeat this, but the Cypress office is the only one that matters.
that's why I'm here.
So
That's exactly why I'm here. I'm not even
Yeah.
supposed to be here, but I'm like, oh, I'm
There
going
you
to jump
go.
on to Cypress really fast. So,
Thank you.
you know, I do want to give a tip though, and then I'll let Keegan do his presentation. But with the refinance boom, this is an opportunity for you guys as agents to reach out to your past clients that purchased a few years back. And because the rates today, if they haven't refied with the rate that Joe could offer them today, they need to jump on that bandwagon, right? But it's a great call to make. You can help them by saying, hey, the refi rates are great. You can lower your monthly payments. You might even be able to get I was talking to someone that got a client into a 20-year loan, and they are ecstatic. So I'm sure Joe does the 20-year loans as well, but it's a great reason to call your past clients and in your sphere of influence. It's all about being on the phone, right? Look at Benny and I. Phone.
Yes,
Try to be
absolutely.
on the phone more than social media. You got to have a perfect blend, but people want to hear from us.
Hey, we love your background, by the way.
Thank you. I took that picture.
Nice.
That's the lobby of our office at Orange Coast Title, corporate office. That's our lobby.
Cool. All
Yeah,
right.
thanks. Okay,
Thanks for
so I'm going to
joining
go run off to Redondo. Congratulations, everybody, with your transactions. We're here for you. We want to help you with your escrows. Please remember to specify the right team on your transactions. We would truly appreciate it. And maybe we could, maybe I could hire one of my boys back, which would be wonderful.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Cool.
thank you.
All right, Christy, thank you.
Thank you. Keegan, knock their socks off, babe.
Will do. I also have a little helper today. My cat has decided to join me for this presentation.
Hope she doesn't scratch you.
Oh,
bye,
he
guys.
won't. He'll just try to eat the buttons off my shirt.
Oh, there you go. All right, bye.
Bye. So, it won't let me do screen share right now, but
Because I'm sharing mine. Let me.
yeah. All right, let's see. There we go. So I don't know if any of you have gone into our Title Advantage website recently. If you have, you'll notice that we have done a cosmetic overhaul. None of the features have changed, except for in a positive way where they're easier to find, but you can do all the same, find all the same information that you could before. So if you want to search up a property and make a little quick property profile, you can. You just go in here, go by address, and then you have to include either the zip code or the county. So I'm just doing our office just to show you the changes. And so you can create a property profile. You can create a little quick one, which will just show you who the owners are, transfer dates, stuff like that. Or you can do a longer one, which will have comparables in it for you. Let's see, there we go again. You can create, email the profile to someone, open title orders. Again, if you've used our mobile version, our app, this is going to be very similar layout. A lot of the buttons are going to be the same, but again, you can still create farms. You can go into the net advantage, figure out what the buyer's costs are going to be, use calculators, calculate what mortgage is going to look like. Again, it's just to make it easier to navigate for you guys. So I just wanted to share that with all of you today.
Cool.
Does anyone have any questions on the new site or any questions in general?
If you have any questions, just unmute yourself, please.
No?
Once.
All right, then.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Keegan, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me go back to sharing our keynote. And all right, Stephanie Pagan, I know you're on the call.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi. So just a quick reminder, I just want to let you guys know claims are being dispatched, and actually they're kind of being dispatched as if we weren't going through any kind of situation. It's been pretty good. In the very beginning, we had some issues, but at this point, it's running pretty smooth. So if you're running into any situations, please don't hesitate to give me a call and I can jump in and get those things resolved for you. Also wanted to remind you about that we offer a 2-year home warranty. I think it's a great product, especially if there's any extra costs that seller or lender might be picking up if they're giving you any money, or anything left over to pick up a 2nd-year home warranty for your client. So we do offer that. It's and it's at a discounted rate. So just don't forget about that. And last but not least, I wanted to remind you, sorry, I got to look at this so I can say how it is. You guys have all probably received an email on this Sharon webinar, how to get leads and appointments on Instagram. If you haven't joined any of his webinars that First American, he's really, I guess, a big guy out there, but First American's got a good relationship with him. So he's doing these 30-minute webinars for us. If you haven't been on any of those webinars, think about joining it. If you didn't get it, let me know. You can text me and I can send it to you, but it's on Thursday, May 14th. And it is from 11 to 11:30. Like I said, it's just a 30-minute. He gives a lot of really good information. So if you have nothing else to do on that day, please think about getting on that. And that is it. Thank you and congratulations to all the business that's still coming in. And thank you for all the support. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Steph.
You're welcome.
Property ID, I don't think we have Rika on, but hey, you guys, our affiliates are, your team. When people ask you, do you have a team? Of course I do. I've got Christy Rye, I got Steph, I got Rika. So please don't forget to, talk about your team and advertise your team and share your team out there with your clients. Because for some weird reason, they, when you say, oh, it's just me by myself, or, they think, oh, this guy, we give him 2 deals, he's going to be too busy. So share the fact that you have, a team behind you. So thanks again to our supporters and our affiliates for that. Share your transaction issues. Knowledge is power. I want to share with you guys some slides that Dennis from corporate, give me a second. I'm going to have to switch screens here. Is it on my desktop? Well, maybe I could do that. Okay. Tell me if you guys can see or can't see that. Can you guys see that where it says PWR? Yes, no, maybe. Can you give me a thumbs up? Yeah, okay, yes. Cool. So this is just a local market update, guys, that was printed from PWR. Dennis actually was telling me that he looks at these numbers on a daily, and he's seeing where the market's going with this. But one thing that you'll notice is, let's not focus on Bellflower. Let's go to Cypress. Right? New listings 2019, 32, right, in April, and in 2020, 18. So there's a 43% change, right? And of course, that sounds pretty solid with, a lot of people took their homes off the market because of this coronavirus thing, because of multiple factors, right? One being health and safety, and the other, the thought that maybe it's not the right time to sell a home because of XYZ excuse, right? Oh, nobody's going to be focused on buying a home right now, blah, blah, whatever. So they're just, if you look at that, I mean, that the numbers kind of make sense there, where there is a slight drop, right? But as you can see though, one thing that they wanted to point out though was the prices are higher. Do you see that? 2019 710 was the median sales price in April, and it's 762, a 7.3% increase in April of 2020. So I would go to my sellers, anybody that's asking you, and honestly, I think the news today, as of this morning, is more of we're getting over this. And so I would go to my sellers and say that, hey, prices are up 7.3%. Right. And that's good for you, because not only were we already at a peak, but now we're at even a higher peak, right? Compared from last year, a 7.3% increase. I would say, yeah, if you're thinking about selling, this is now the time. And, that was Cypress. I can share these with you. Downey, if you see, I mean, Downey went from 69 to 25. And again, but look at that. Sales price, 14.7% increase in Downey. So if you guys want me to share some of these slides with you that you could look at and share with your clients, if you'd like, share them on social media. It's great. If you look at Huntington Beach, same thing, 17.6% change in price. So something good to keep in mind And I have these handy. So if you'd like them, send me a text after the video call, and I will definitely share them with you.
And the days on market were also a huge drop. A lot of them were like from 40 days to 10 days.
There you go. Yeah. So there's definitely, in any situation, there's going to be a positive and a negative. I remember speaking to some guys that were in the business back in 05, 06, 07 that said that they made no money. I'm like, how could you not make money? People would hit you on the face with a contract saying, I want to buy it. You know what I mean? But it just, some people weren't benefactors of the, or didn't benefit from that. So it is what it is. Let me go now to what I wanted to share. John Greer, are you on the call? He's there. Yeah.
I'm here.
Hey, was there anything you wanted to share before we go on to this purchase offer? Anything?
No, I was just glad everybody's safe and healthy and no coronavirus. Just
Yeah.
our neck of the woods. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. You better take your suits to the tailors because you're going to be coming back to the office shortly here.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Let me go to my other thing that I wanted to share. So basically, when I titled this, it's not showing me it. Okay, when I titled this, I said, make them an offer you can't refuse, or they can't refuse. And so I want to share with you guys, can everybody see, can everybody see that? There's an email? No, you can't? Okay, all right. So I know what's happening. All right, there it is. Now you can, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So give me a sec here. All right, so basically, guys, I wanted to share with you just, the way that I write offers. That's not the proven 100% best method of writing an offer, but I've had some success in the past. A couple of years ago, I remember, every buyer that I met, every offer that I write the first time out, it'd get accepted. Of course, it takes a lot of little things that you might not pick up from this next 20 minutes or so, but I will try to give you as much as I can. One thing that I will tell you is, before showing the property, I'll reach out to the listing agent, kind of to get a little feel for what's going on. And then if my clients like it, then I'll call back, and the conversation, I usually like to talk to that agent in an unprofessional way, meaning that I feel like I'm talking to Keegan at the bar, So I'm like, hey, Keegan, how's it going, man? Hey, so just went and showed Occidental. You know what? My clients really love it. You got any offers? And then Keegan will probably say, yeah, you know what? We do. If he says that, then I'll be like, oh, wow. All right. Well, are they at asking, or are they above that? And sometimes they're going to share with you, yeah, you know what? We do have one, or they're all low, or whatever, or you know what? I can't disclose that, or whatever their answer is. Obviously, I'm looking for the answer of, you know what? Yeah, they're just slightly above asking, okay. And let's say it's 600, right? Then I'll say, great. So do you think like 610 clean, no closing costs would probably take it down, and then whatever their feedback is on that. Now, if they say to me, you know what, just make your best offer, then in those scenarios, I'll go, oh, wow. All right. So you got multiples above asking. I'll say that just out loud to them, and then I'll go really excessive. So let's say it's 600. I'll go, oh, wow. So you got multiple. So what are you thinking? 650? And then sometimes that'll trigger a reaction like, oh, no, not that high. No, it won't appraise at that. Then I'll kind of go, oh, okay. So like 625. And then they'll say, well, just make it your highest and best. Then I'm like, all right, so 625 it is. You got it, man. So you got to kind of try to, it's sales. You got to sell the other guy on your clients, your qualifications, but then also you got to be, I guess, like a investigator and get that other sides details. You know, why are they selling? Where are they moving? You know, what's something that's really important to them? Will a long escrow be good? Will a short escrow be better? And trust me, we could probably talk about this for like 10 hours straight, but anyways, I'm sure you guys get the little gist of it. So the other thing that I'll do, just right, just as you can see here at the top left, if you see the subject line, I'll write in all caps, and I know that pisses people off sometimes, but whatever, it stands out in my email. It says offer, and then I'll put the first, you know, the address, numbers, and the name of the street, and then I'll put buyer's name, and I'll put agent, and I'll put Benny, and then my number. Notice my number doesn't have any dashes or decimals or periods in between it. The reason I do that is if they're on their phone and they're on the subject line, if they just hold on to that list of numbers there, their phone will ask them if it wants to call me. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for them to get back to me, just by that alone. So then I'll go, and you guys have probably already read some of this, but I'm going to read it real quick. And you're going to catch something here, or I'll point it out, is just like I said with the text that I send you guys, right? And then our emails now, yeah, there is an initial write-up of the email, and there's an initial write-up of the text, but after that, I put it in our system, and then boom, it just automatically sends it all out to you guys. So this is an actual copy that I use on everybody's listing, but I do change it up a little bit based on that property. So good evening, Blanca. Thank you for allowing us to see your listing this afternoon. Please find attached is an offer from my clients, Norma and Anthony Garcia, for the property located at 842 Occidental. Anthony and Norma instantly fell in love when we pulled up to the home. They really love the living room and fireplace and would love to spend Christmas with family there. They absolutely love the overall layout of the home and, of course, the number of bedrooms. We love the huge master bedroom with its ensuite bathroom. They have 2 children, one that begins high school next semester. She's already picked a bedroom, and her brother starts college next semester as well. They totally see themselves having lots of family over for barbecues in the beautiful backyard. They really love this home and can't wait to make it theirs. They can't stop talking about how cute, warm, and cozy the home looks and feels, and how they see themselves having family and friends over. Norma works for DWP just steps away from Union Station, so she will be riding the Metrolink to work with some of her coworkers. Anthony works for Southern Wine and Spirits and is routed based on his home location, so he will begin a new route near Claremont. Best of all, they have several family that live close by, so we found the perfect home. Now we only hope that you and your clients will work with us in putting this transaction together. Please feel free to contact my lender, Ramel Meza of Elite Mortgage Pros in Downey. I believe he and his team are the best when it comes to getting loans closed, and many agents out there will tell you the same. He's been ranked as one of the top 100 lenders 2017, 18, 19 by the National Association of Hispanic Realtors. We've represented several buyers over the last 13 years and spent ample time educating them on the entire transaction process. This way, they know what to expect and do to make it a smooth, stress-free transaction. Please don't hesitate to call me with any questions or concerns should you have, or concerns you should have, or to let me know that our offer has been accepted. Crossing our fingers. I promise you that I, along with my lender and transaction manager, Bree, will go above and beyond to make it a smooth, pleasant, pain-free, and quick transaction. Here's where you catch it, ready, where it's a system. And I didn't catch this until this morning. Thank you, Brian. I really look forward to working with you, sincerely, Benny. And if you look back at the top, the lady's name is Blanca. So total mix-up from the last offer I wrote for the same buyer. So anyways, then I attached the offer here. I don't know if you guys could see my cursor or not, but I attach it right below, and then I put, P.S. Here's a quick breakdown of our offer for your convenience. Offer $660, escrow to close in 21 days or less, EMD 10,000 wired escrow immediately, financing FHA, FICO score 685, 682, seller's choice of all service providers, seller credited buyer 13,000 for closing costs, seller provide termite section 1, home warranty 650, 14-day loan and appraisal contingency, 10-day inspection contingency. All right. Does anybody have any questions so far? If you do, please unmute yourself. Any questions or anything that comes up to mind? Okay, then I will continue. Please let me know. Can you now see, are you still, uh-oh, it says sharing is paused. Okay, so maybe I need to redo this again to go to the attachment. And that's it there. Okay, do you guys see an offer now on the screen? Yeah, okay, or whatever. All right, so you guys all do this already, but just, going over the basics because we have all ranges of agents on this call. So the first thing that I put up there is their approval letter, okay? Next thing, credit scores, then proof of funds, and then the offer begins. So I want to go over the offer. Let me see how I could. There we go. All right, and you guys can see that, correct? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So if you'll see, guys, one of the things that I'll point out. So you guys know how to put in the address and all that stuff. I don't need to go over that. But one thing that I'll point out to you guys is, even if my lender tells me, Benny, coronavirus, 45 to 60 day escrows right now, man, don't write any 30 days. They'll tell me that, and I still go 21. The goal is always to close within 30 days or sooner, but I always want to show that other agent that I'm aggressive and that I mean business. I don't want to waste anybody's time. So 21 days. And you know what? On these 21 days, how many times do I close on 21 days? Very rarely, maybe 1 or 2 out of 10. The rest of them end up going 30 to 45 days. And I ask for extensions. I like to think, instead of asking for permission, ask for forgiveness, So that's one thing that I'll point out. And Rosie, if you're on the call, Rosie and I went over one of her offers a couple of weeks ago, and I had her change all her dates on everything and her contingencies and everything. And you could ask her, she's got an escrow now because of it. So, and probably that's not the whole reason why, but I'll tell you, those things make a difference. If you're sitting there as a listing agent with 2 offers at the same price, terms are going to matter. Are you asking for a 17 or 21 day loan contingency, or are you asking for a 14 days? So, all right. Moving along, usually for anything over, I would say 500, I always ask the deposit to be 10 grand. If it's anything less, I'll say 5 grand to the buyer, right? If you'll notice here in the initial deposit section, it says initial deposit shall be in the amount of, and it tells you what. I always put their other bank wire, and then it says you could send it to escrow within 3 business days. I always put immediately upon acceptance. In the chat, Nancy says, give me a sec, guys. Let me answer Nancy's good point. How do you convince the buyer that the shortened terms work? So to address, Nancy wanted to ask, how do we convince the buyer, hey, you know what, 30-day escrow, we're going to write it 21. I explain that to the buyer. I'll say, look, you got to trust me that I'm going to get your offer accepted, okay? And you got to trust me that my goal is to get you your keys, right? With the least headache possible. So the way that I write the offer is one thing, but once we're in escrow, then we have the leverage. At that time, I can ask for extensions. At that time, I can extend the escrow a little bit longer, whatever. And then the other thing I tell them too is, look, throughout the whole thing, I always have your loan contingency or one of the contingencies in place that protects your deposit, right? And as long as I keep asking for extensions, that's protected, as well as the contingency removal not being signed by you, that's going to keep it protected. Now, if at any time I feel that we might not get your loan or something else is going on where we're not going to be able to close, at that point, believe me, I will advise you that we need to pull the plug. So most of the time, Nancy, nobody says anything about that. They're pretty good with that 21 days. So it's just just another thing that I do just to move it along. If you notice here,
Benny,
yeah, go ahead.
Benny, it's John. One before you get past that, the deposit being wired into escrow upon acceptance rather than 3 days.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment there, is that I got stuck on that recently 2 different times. And the thing of it was, you know, you know, we may or may not get back to it, but they were making multiple offers on different properties and waiting. So I'm like, hey, you know, it's been the 3 days are up, and just give me one more day or 2 more days. Like, what's going on, you know? And I look horrible in front of my client, and here I've opened escrow, and I'm you know, we're all held up, and then they move on. They take another offer from another property, and we're you know, I had the house off the market. It's horrible. So I'm just saying, you know, from now on, I learned my lesson. I put upon acceptance.
Yeah.
There is no excuse, and I make sure if it's written in, which typically the default is 3 days, and I'll write that in on it. I'll make a counter offer, even if we accept everything's beautiful. Benny, I learned that lesson the hard way, and it's the best policy to put that in. Then at least you've got a way to move on. If after acceptance and that money isn't in right away, you can go ahead and keep taking offers and not open escrow and stuff, and do all that waste of time.
Yeah.
So, very
cool.
good.
Thanks for sharing that, John. And you know, guys, I will say another thing. You know, this listing that I have in Downey, some buyers are like, or some agents are like, oh yeah, you know, my buyer doesn't get off work until this time, or you know, they can't make it. Is there any way else that we could do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? It's not that important to them, because if they were really serious, you know, people will take time off work to go look at a house if they really like the way it looks and they're really serious. So, you know, not getting in a deposit within a day or two after you open escrow, honestly, they're playing you, you know. So keep that in mind. And when you're writing an offer, let that be known to that agent. Hey, man, we're serious. You know, you open escrow on Monday, my client will give you a receipt that they wired their money on Monday. Might not get to escrow until Tuesday, but we'll give you a receipt of that wire from the bank, you know, to show you that we're good. So here, if you see the FHA repairs, it defaults to 17 days, if you see there. And I write in 10 days, guys, because again, I want to show that agent, hey, man, we're not going to string you along for 17 days and then come out with this big long items list, and then, you know, you're back to square one, back on the market. In 10 days, I'm going to let you know whether or not we're going to move forward or not, you know, as far as our inspection goes. So I'll do that. Here, I can't tell you how many times I review offers that are missing this, which is item H there, where you click the verification attached. I know it's not a big deal, but just, you know, complete your offers. Make sure that they're complete. I've been up against tough listing agents where they'll tell me, oh, dude, you don't know how many offers I just threw in the trash that were incomplete. You know, they didn't put in any dates in the contingencies. They didn't do this, you know. So make sure that you have a complete offer when it's going out. It not only makes you look good, but it shows that you're a professional and that you're on top of your game. So again, the other thing, appraisal contingency, I short it down to 14 days. You know what, right now, with the way things are, my appraisal on this specific deal, I'm actually in escrow. We're trying to close this Friday, but it's probably going to float into like Tuesday of next week. But on this deal here, this is the exact offer I sent over, and that appraisal didn't get done until day 22, right? So once we were in there, I called the agent. I go, hey, you know what? They had a big upfront delay on getting lending disclosures out, so they couldn't order the appraisal until that was done. And I go, so the appraiser's not going to be calling you until like 3 days from now. And she's like, 3 days? I go, hey, don't act brand new. I go, don't act brand new. You know, we have, everybody in the lending industry is experiencing delays. So going to the loan contingency, do you guys see that as well? 21 days, I write in 14. Again, you know, before you get into escrow as a buyer's agent, you have no leverage. Once you're in, they took that house off the market, guys, right? Now it's you know, it's all on you. Of course, here's the thing, the extensions, don't ask for an extension if you're not communicating with that listing agent, right? Keep a good communication, update them. Hey, loan's been submitted. Hey, appraisal's been ordered. Hey, keep an eye out. The appraiser's going to be calling you. Hey, got conditional approval. You know, if you're updating that listing agent, you're going to get all the extensions you want. The problem is when you don't update them, or you're too quiet and you don't say anything, that they're going to be very reluctant to give you an extension because they feel that you're not working on the deal. So let's scroll down. Here's one that I see a lot of people miss as well. It is termite. Remember, termite is no longer a part of your contract, right? And this section here, allocation of cost, it is only for reports. This is not where you would write clearance of a termite or you know, $5,000 closing credit. This is just for reports and certificates. So if you see there, you know, NHD, seller's choice, that's another thing. You know, I write seller's choice on everything. You know, I love Christy Rye. I love Castlewood. Been loyal for many, many, many years. But when I'm writing my buyer's offers, it's all seller's choice. My goal is to one-shot it, meaning that I submit an offer, it gets accepted as is, and I get no counters. Because I'll tell you what, if they have to counter you, the time it takes for them to counter you, another offer could come in, and that one says seller's choice all over it, and you're done. You're out of the game. So that's the way I do it. You guys could, you know, think I'm crazy or dumb or whatever, but I'm telling you what works for me. If you see here, wood destroying organism, termite inspection, seller's choice of licensed pest control. That's just for the report as well. And then I'll denote too that the buyer is to pay for their physical home inspection. Moving on. Oh, here's another one. The government requirements and retrofits. Do you see this? B1. You know, that you always click seller because that's for the carbon monoxide, smoke alarm, and water heater bracing, right? But here's another mistake that happens. And I think I made the mistake on this one too, but whatever, they didn't address it, is on this section 2 here. These two, they're only if, like, let's say you're dealing in the city of Compton that has a pre-sale inspection, right? You want to click those. Anything with a pre-sale inspection, you want to click those. But if you're not in a pre-sale inspection city, don't click those because that's going to generate a counter now where the agent's going to want to address that. And again, every time that they have to counter you on terms or price or whatever, it's just another opportunity for somebody to slip in while they're doing that and you're waiting on a counter. So escrow and title, buyer and seller to each pay their respective fees. Seller's choice of escrow company, seller's choice of title company. Guys, just a few more minutes. I know we're cutting it up to 11 here, but there's not a lot much more. I always tell all my clients that the first 3 pages are the most, you know, important because those are the majority of the terms. But if you're unsure of anything like a city transfer tax, right, if applicable, in this case, this didn't apply because it was the city of Claremont, but other costs, seller shall pay county transfer tax. If you see here in number 8, D8, seller shall pay for clearance of section 1 items found in termite inspection report. That's where you would ask for that. And that's where you also ask for a credit. I still see people asking for credits on page 1 at the very bottom where it says lending other terms. And that's not where you would write the closing costs on a contract. It would be here. The other, seller shall pay the costs to not exceed $650 for the home warranty, and Steph will love to see the upgraded, and you know, you click your air conditioning and whatnot. Here's another thing. So number 8, items included and excluded from the sale, right? I've had it before where somebody clicked refrigerator, right? And my seller had one of these fancy Viking ones, and they're like, I'll die before I give that refrigerator with the sell in my house. That's going to my new house, right? So I'm over here preparing a counter just for a damn refrigerator. And guess what happened? Somebody else makes an offer, same price, didn't click refrigerator, only click the stove. I'm like, you know what? Let's go with that guy. Rather than do the counter, here we are, done. So one thing that I'll do, I'll always ask for the stove. On the refrigerator, I'll ask the agent, hey, is that staying? It looks kind of nice. If it's kind of beat up, you kind of know that it's probably gonna stay. But if it's a little bit nicer and your client wants it, you know, ask that agent and see if that's gonna be something that can stay. Don't let that kill your deal. So moving on, the next few pages, you know, they're just standard stuff. You really don't, edit anything there. But then when you get, sorry, I probably passed it up. Hold on. There we are. So time periods, removal contingencies, right? Seller has 7 days to deliver all reports, disclosures, and whatnot. But look at B. Buyer has, it defaults to 17. I put 10. Now here's the thing. You're probably thinking 10 days disclosures. Gosh, Benny, sometimes this damn agent doesn't send their stuff over till day 10, right? Well, if you know, every time that they deliver a new disclosure to your client, then the buyer gets another 5 days. If you look at item 3, right? So if it's not specified, if it's not delivered within those 7 days that the seller has, then your buyer automatically gets 5 more days, right? And again, you know, here's a funny thing. Not telling you guys to do, John Greer, cover your ears on this one. But you know, it's funny when I see people send over, an offer like contingent upon the sale of our home. Yes, it's good to disclose that because that's the right thing to do. And you know, you should do it if that's the case, because if any hiccups happen on that, you're going to screw up your deal on this. But here's the thing. How many contingencies does your contract already have, right? You've got a loan contingency, inspection contingency, appraisal contingency, right? So you have 3 contingencies that you can protect your buyer on any contract. So I've even had it before where I'll remove the loan and the appraisal contingency and leave the inspection in there and then still cancel, right? The other thing is my contingency removal, I like to close deals with it in place still, you know, and agents will call me, hey man, you know, and you know, sometimes they'll say, oh, all right, yeah, we'll get it to you tomorrow. You know, you got to remember this is not everybody's standing by waiting to sign your document, right? So when a listing agent sends something over, that doesn't mean you got to sign it right that minute. You know, you're busy, you've got a life, things are going on. So sometimes I'll get a contingency removal request and it'll be 3 to 4 days before we get it back. Sometimes I'll get it on a Thursday. We don't get it back till like Monday or Tuesday, you know? So, you know, that's another way to protect your client. You know, something to think about. And trust me, I know that we could talk on all these subjects for a lot longer, but we're trying to keep it concise. You know, there are people that'll say to not do a liquidated damages clause initial, but I'll tell you, I've come across a lot of listing agents that won't even accept your offer if you don't, you know, which is kind of, you know, they're supposed to present it regardless of what you do, but a lot of agents will not. Other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. It's just those items there. If you really got, you know, want it to sum it up very, very concise, I would say it's just timelines. You know, it's really getting it, showing to that other agent that you're willing to move fast, even if that doesn't end up being the case once you're in escrow. And the other thing is, you know, the upfront communication with that agent. What do you guys want? You know, what would work for you guys? What's going on? I think that's always been the best one for me. And look, guys, I'm new to this home management thing. Trust me, for 13, 14 years, I've been working alongside a bunch of agents at different offices, and some of my coworkers will go, oh man, I don't know where to come in on this, or call the guy. You do that? You call the guy? Go, yeah. You know, it's seriously, you know, just that phone call, feeling that person out, you'll know right away. You call John Greer, it's like, man, this guy, I want to work with him, right? You call, yeah, I hope this doesn't get out on social media, but you call Angel and Patty and their receptionist answers and she has no clue. I mean, you're like, you know what, man, I don't want to work with Angel and Patty. You know what I mean? So that phone call, doing that upfront work and finding out what it is that they want is going to be the thing. I'll tell you another thing that I did too. In the past, I would write 15-day escrows, and those work only if the house is vacant. If it's not vacant, most sellers are not going to be cool with that. So, it's always about finding out what that seller wants and how that's going to work on your end too. Another thing, on this deal, we asked for 13 grand in closing costs. That's a whole boatload of money, in my opinion, just for starters. And then we went in and asked for another 5 grand while in escrow for repairs. And what it is my clients, their closing cost was really high because they had to buy down the rate in order to qualify because of their debt to income ratios and whatnot. So they needed all that money, and you know what? We got it. So again, it's communicating with the agent. This agent wanted us to cross qualify with my lender. We did that. It actually took a week to get this offer accepted. But again, going through all those hoops, she's like, I want to talk to your lender. I want him to talk to my lender, cross qualify. Here's what we want, and finding all those details. Once we were in, who would have thought that after 13 grand, we'd still shoot for another 5 grand, and we did it. So one last thing, guys, give me a second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to unmute everybody, but I want to share something with you real quick. So real quick, one common thing that I'm seeing right now is people are making offers, like a lot of buyers. I don't know if their agents are telling them this or what. But, here, I'm going to mute.
Oh my gosh, he's
real
there.
quick. Okay. So one thing that I've noticed is a lot of buyers are throwing out a bunch of lowball offers out there. Okay. So fresh on the market, I even got one the other day, 30 grand below asking, right? So I'm guessing they're thinking the news, oh, nobody's buying, there's nobody's doing deals, oh, we can lowball them. And the agent's probably not educating them as to, no, you know what? I walked up to a house the other day, there was 15 buyers. So obviously those buyers are going to have to get their offers rejected so that they learn on the next one and whatnot. But one thing that I'll tell you is if you have a buyer that says to you, hey, let's offer 10 grand less, right? The property's 710, I want to offer 700. One thing that I would recommend that you say to that buyer is say, hey, well, you're coming up with 10 grand in closing costs, is that correct? Yeah. Well, lowering the offer price isn't going to save you 10 grand in your pocket. It'll save you, 10 grand's going to save you maybe 70 bucks, 60 bucks, 50 bucks per month on your mortgage, but you're not going to get that 10 grand. If I could make a great suggestion, why don't we offer 710 and ask for 10 back? And now you could hang on to your 10 you were going to use for closing costs because the seller's giving you that credit. So something to consider if you're out there making offers and you have a client that's like, hey, I want to make a lowball offer. I want to offer 20 grand less. Try saying, hey, well, you know what? We need 15 grand in closing costs. Why don't we offer full and ask for 15 back? That way it's kind of a win-win and it's not looked on so bad. And they get to keep, money on hand. Whereas if they just do 700, they're not going to get any money cash back on their hand. So I'm going to unmute everybody now. I know that Nancy's got a question. I saw for escrow fees, it was, where do you put the 13? Oh, Nancy, did you see that? Did you guys see that where I wrote the closing cost part?
Oh.
Sí.
Yeah, and other costs.
Vendré ya a diario.
Hello.
Oh, sí, Carla. Oh, sí. No te
Oh,
pierdas
Ludy's on the
ella,
phone.
porque todas tus oraciones están mucho más fuertes.
Okay. Here, I muted Ludy. All right, anybody have any questions, any comments, anything you guys want to share? Is everybody doing all right?
Hi, Benny. This is Rosie.
Hey, Rosie.
Yeah, the way you teach me how to fill the offer, it was great. I got it accepted, and it really works. It makes you look very professional. You make sure that everything is filled out, and the listing agents, they do pay attention to that. So it was great to have it as a master. Every time I write offers, I go back to that one.
Cool.
Just to make
Awesome.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
sharing. Awesome. Hi, Christina.
Hi,
Thanks for making the call.
you're welcome. And
Hey,
I'm
hey,
enjoying the content.
I don't know if you were on earlier, but congrats on all your escrows.
Oh, I think I jumped in right about that point.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
jumped in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Killing it. I love it. All right. Awesome.
Thank
All right.
you.
Anything else? Anybody? John?
I'm curious, Christina, you know what, maybe one of those transactions you got going on, what was going on? How did you get it? Sphere of influence? You know, that.
You know what? 3 of the transactions happened to be from people that I've been in. I met them when I was selling other houses, and I just kind of kept in contact with them. And 3 of those I've known for 5 years.
There you go. Follow up, guys.
Yeah,
the key.
it's just I would say that's just follow up. Yeah.
That's where the diamonds are. Absolutely.
What's crazy though, you know, when this whole COVID thing happened, like everybody, I was super worried that it was going to be terrible. Not only do I have these in escrow, but I've got 5 listings coming up that will hit the market in the next couple, you know, over the next month and a half or 2.
Yeah.
People are not stopping. I mean,
No.
this isn't stopping. Like I think it's crazy. Happily.
Yeah. You know, everybody, I'll share with you and then we'll end this. But that actual offer that I showed you guys, I wish I could record my client, but he says to me, he goes, COVID was the best thing that happened to us for our home buying, because I don't know if I shared with you in the past that and it's not an objection. I can't remember what Mike Ferry calls it, but it's a condition and that you can't do anything about. But their kids were in school and they didn't want them to be pulled out of school and then start a new school in the middle of the semester. So he's like, you know what? We can't buy until after June, until they're out of school. And look, all of a sudden there's no more school. So he's like, there it is. And then the other thing that I mentioned to you was their payment is $500 less today than it was 2 months ago. So he's like, man, it really worked in our favor, this COVID thing. He goes, I feel bad. Yeah, there are, you know, people that have been affected, sadly, because of it, you know, but unfortunately, life does go on. And, you know, he was looking to buy a home and, you know, it didn't happen. So there it is. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. Things are happening, as you can see, you know, so please, you know, stay positive, stay strong, and we'll see you here next week.
Thank you,
Have a
Benny.
great week.
Thank you, Benny.
Bye-bye.
Have a good week.